Shri Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, so in this series of meditation practice, we mainly focus our mind to develop the Vipassana meditation. So, when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, that all these teachings, if you try to bring to one word, and if you try to compress this all the teachings to one method, that is Vipassana. So why that is very important? Because once you able to recognize something very clearly, that recognition itself going to take you to wisdom. Another thing is it capable for you? So as a human being, you are capable to experience something within yourself without any help, without any kind of prayer, without any kind of blessing. You are capable to experience something clearly as it is, without your own thoughts even. But when it comes to this conventional life, this conventional life depend on patterns, methods, structure, culture, tradition. So for that, you have to follow something. If you are a newly born baby, your parents, your grandparents, and from the temple, from the church, from the mosque, priest, monks, they inject everything for you to follow them. And then you have to follow that. You have no choice. So if you are a newly born baby, you whatever available for you, you follow that. And then you become like that way. That's how we also became like this. But when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, it is completely different from that method. You become a person completely free inside your mind. Even though conventionally in the outside, you follow the culture, tradition, methods, patterns, it's nothing wrong with that. It should be there. Because that culture, that tradition help for us to become like this. And it holds the truth. It holds the teachings, the pattern. But the thing is, if you stuck there without leaving it, then what will happen to you? You become a good person in a conventional way, but in deeply, you didn't gain any kind of spiritual development. So when it comes to Vipassana, when you become free means, the very first thing you have to get out of the views that you carry regarding everything. And you become free from views, the ideas, concepts. So that is where you really going to experience what is this Vipassana. And if you experience that, and then you recognize what the Buddha really mentioned as Nibbana. With this all, you cannot go there. With the culture, traditions, and the all other good things that conventionally we appreciate, we cannot go with that. You have to drop that things and let that things to be there. It's not going to disappear. It's going to be there. Maybe you will disappear, but that culture, tradition, methods, patterns, believing, it always going to be there. So don't worry about it. And it's not going to destroy by somebody. And don't get disappointed about it. See, it's like a river. It will keep flowing. But yourself, what you should do, and try to find your freedom. So that is what the Buddha's purpose. For that, you have to practice meditation, and you have to listen to Dharma, and you have to read book, and maybe you have to follow many other methods to find your freedom. So when it comes to that, in the Samatha meditation, there are many meditation techniques, as you know. There are 40 meditation methods. You can, using that 40, you can tranquilize your mind. But when it comes to Vipassana, in that Vipassana, we try to develop the clear comprehension, Sati Sampajanya. So that is completely different than the method of the Samatha. And this clear comprehension, or the Sati Sampajanya, and before the Buddha, they didn't, anyone that didn't know that this method. So this was brand new 2,600 years ago. And all the time time to time in these eons by eons in the samsara, all the Buddhas come to this world and introduce this Sati Sampajanya, clear comprehension. So when it comes to that today, so I'm going to explain the Sati Sampajanya. There are 3 steps. And keep this video as a reference for your Vipassana practice. And if anybody practice Vipassana, and let them to hear this or watch this. Why? Because this information, and you cannot find in any videos. I didn't find it anywhere. So when it comes to clear comprehension, Sati Sampajanya, direct perception, there are 3 things that you have to be very clear. There are 3 steps. And when you complete these 3 steps, and that after 3rd step, it will help you to attain to the Nibbana. So that's how practicing through Vipassana, how you can gain the Nibbana or enlightenment. So the first step is, when it comes to clear comprehension, comprehension. So when it comes to Vipassana, seeing things very clearly is the first step. So the clear perception. So it's like you receiving the signal then properly. So the object and the subject in between this, with the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, sensation, formation, recognition. So that should be exactly right. So that is the first step. So as example, this is a pen. So that recognition should be happen very clearly. And sometimes that even though we see things, we hear things, smell things, taste things, and feel things, even the ideas come to us, we don't recognize it in that way. We recognize it as something else. So the signal should receive properly. So that's why you have to have your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind properly. So if you have kind of like that hearing disability, maybe the sound not going to come directly and exactly as it is. Then you cannot uh, experience that. And with your eye, if you have any kind of difficulty to see, maybe you recognize something in a wrong way. So then that's mean the signal doesn't work properly. So in the very first level, in the material level, physically you have to be perfect with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and even the outside, that whatever appear, so the signal should come properly. So that is the first step when it comes to sati sampajanya. So the second step, it should not get disturbed by your thoughts. So physically you experience this as a pen and you recognize this as a black, and you have no any kind of disability with your eye. So that's why you exactly recognize this as black. So then that work properly. But sometimes, even though it is a pen, for some person suddenly maybe cannot recognize it as a pen. So as example, if the person having a very strong past memory regarding something, and that person maybe recognize this as something else related to his memory. And other thing is, if you have the kind of like a greed, hatred, and the delusion high inside you, it's kind of like you are so angry, and maybe you're not going to see this as a pen. Then you see this as a weapon. So sometimes you see in movies, in prison, and somebody want to try to escape from the prison, and or sometimes they want to hijack something like a plane, so they use this as a weapon. See, that person don't see this as a pen. Even though it is a pen, inside his consciousness, he used this as something else. So the second step, when you experience something with your this you have to apply to all the six senses, even what you hear. When you hear something, you have to exactly hear it, and your thoughts or your memory or the mental condition should not disturb to that experience. And as example, you hearing, maybe if you are angry, if somebody trying to give a good advice, maybe your husband, wife, maybe your children, your parents, friends, and try to give you something good advice. Maybe you have done something wrong and you are angry. So you not get it as a good advice, and it disturbed to you. And then you get mad. So even anything that can happen, like even the smell the same, even the taste, that also can happen that way. Even the sensation. You don't get it in that way. You know, as example, the husband wife had a fight, and then if your partner come closer, and you throw that person away, you don't feel that it has comfort, but other person with the compassion, with the love, and try to help and come closer to you. But you don't get it as that way because the condition of your mind block it and throw it away. See? So then when it comes to clear comprehension, that is the second step. So the first one, you should receive the signal properly with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. So that's why the physical body should be perfect. That's where the karma is play the role, because to have this body, you have to have the karma. So that karma is a previous karma, and that's why we have this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. And because this eye, in this very moment you see, not because in this very moment whatever the karma you have done. In past, whatever the karma you have done, that's why this eye, in this moment you can see. So like that for all the six senses, like that way. So that is where the karma. But after that, forget about the karma. That's done. That is where the Buddha's teaching went. Because before the Buddha, everybody stopped there. They didn't have any kind of methods to go beyond the karma. So in the second step, when it comes to sati sampajanya, clear comprehension, see, now you experience something that your physical body, your karmic path is, everything is good. You receive the signal properly, but the condition of your mind disturb it. In another way, it called vipallasa. You flip it inside you, flipping, you see something else. See, that's it can happen anyway. The people you love, maybe you see as enemies. And that's where people do a lot of wrong things. And sometimes when the people's emotions high, and they don't recognize even the children. So then they caught up with that emotions. They don't see. And everybody asks, why this person didn't recognize this? See, that is what happening, because your thoughts, your emotions pattern, and disturb to the perception, overtake it. So when you practice the vipassana, when you practice meditation, so what is happening? This all going to become very clear. Your signals going to come very clearly. And the second thing is, you are observing very clearly without adding your thoughts and without bringing your past experience to the moment. You experience the moment. So the direct perception and experience happening very clearly. That's why I every day mention. So be very clear when you observe. Keep the newness, fresh mind all the moment. Don't add your past experience to moment by moment. So that way, whatever that happen, you drop it, and in that very next moment, you are becoming new. You are becoming new. So there is no collective memory. When it comes to vipassana, it's just experience. But experience, the clear experience. Third point is the most important part. That is where that your mind completely get out of the defilement, mental formations, sanskara, and your mind become purified. So remember the first step, physically, with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, you have to be perfect, and the signals should receive. That's mean the form, name and form. Form should receive properly. Sound, smell, taste, this everything should come properly. And then you have to experience it without disturbing from your past experience or the emotions or the thoughts. Third step, whatever you experience, in that very moment, so what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel, and whatever thoughts come to you. In that very moment, so now two steps complete. You experience it properly and you recognize it very clearly. But in that recognition, there should not be, as example, you see this pen, there should not be any kind of greed, hatred, or the delusion arise out of this experience. That means when you see the pen, there is no attachment or there is no resistance regarding this. So then that is where you get out of the dualistic mind, good and bad, right and wrong. There are no divisions. So you recognize this, but in that recognition, you are very careful to experience it without attachment or without detachment. It is just experience. And you see this, it is just experience. It is not, oh, this is beautiful, this is very nice art. It's nothing to do that. It is just experience. And you hear, oh, it's a nice bell sound. It's nothing to do, it's just a sound. And at the same time, no, I don't like it. No attachment, no resistance. Just imagine, how about that? Then, so let's go. With your eye, you experience, everything become very clear, and your past experience doesn't disturb to it, and your emotions doesn't disturb it. And then the experience, the seeing process become very clear, recognition become very clear, and out of that recognition, no any attachment or detachment. And how about that? So now leave it with your eye. How about ear? So all the perception come very clear, and at the same time, no emotions or no any kind of past experience, thoughts disturb to that. And at the same time, no attachment, like or dislike. So then you come and leave it there now. Now two parts is very clear, and come to your nose. Experience become very clear, and then no any past experience or no any emotions and disturb to that. So the seeing process become very clear, recognition become work very clearly, and at the same time, out of that recognition, you don't get any attachment or any resistance. And then come to the taste, and so the perception become very clear, your tongue, your mouth, throat, nothing wrong with that, physically complete, and exactly you get all the taste. And at the same time, your past experience or the emotions not going to block that, so it work properly. And at the same time, you don't get attached or resistance or detachment or no any kind of like dislike out of that taste. So see, now eye, ear, nose, tongue, very clear. And you come to body, and your experience become very clear physically, that there is no any kind of numbness. So there is no any disability, you don't feel anything. Physically you feel nothing wrong with your body, and the perception come very clearly, and at the same time that perception not disturb out of your past experience or out of your emotions. So then the seeing process become very clear, and out of that experience you don't get any kind of attachment or resistance. There is no like dislike. So then come to your mind. thoughts come, so the mind works properly and there is no any mental disability. You recognize the thoughts, and then at the same time, no any past or the emotional that energy going to attack to that thoughts and try to create something else in your mind. So the experience, seeing process become very clear. You recognize this, it as a thought, and out of that thought, no, there is no any emotions, or there is no any kind of that like dislike. There is no that you love it or you hate it. There is no attachment or detachment. So if you experience very single moment with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, perception very clear, and at the same time your thoughts or the emotions doesn't block that, so the seeing process become very clear, and out of that any experience, out of that perception, if you don't get any like, dislike or hate or kind of like a like or attachment or any resistance or any kind of a desire, if you don't have that anything, that moment you attain to enlightenment. So that is the process. You can get it through the clear comprehension. You have to develop it by practicing the vipassana. So that is the process. That is how, if you able to experience for a moment, one single moment, if you come with your six senses, perception clear, even inside with the five aggregates, there is no any emotions or the past experience disturb that, and there is no the desire arise out of it, or that's mean no any like dislike regarding that experience. So try to understand it very clearly how the process happening, and when you practice, when you sit knowingly that, and yourself just look your inside your mind and keep the process, and day by day, day by day, day by day, little by little, try to allow it to arise inside you. It is not you gaining it. It is not kind of like you push yourself towards that. No, the method is, in the beginning, you become comfortable, physical comfort, mental comfort, and then you don't get disturbed. In tranquility state, you settle down your mind. In that settled down mind, and we call it mindfulness, and so in that mindfulness you develop the sati, and that we call the samadhi, tranquility state, and from there you make it usable, and you develop the concentration in that awareness, and from there you come to sati sampajanya. So that is the process, step by step, step by step. You don't stay in one place. But when it comes to the sati sampajanya, there are 3 steps in that sati sampajanya, as I explain it. And so once you complete these 3 steps, and then in that very moment anymore, you're not going to experience in this conventional level of experience, and you transform your life to the liberation. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. එත්තාවතා ච අම්මේහි සම්පදං පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ දේවානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා සබ්බේ භූතා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා සබ්බේ සත්තානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පත්ති සිද්ධියා ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤ කම්මං ආසවක්ඛයා වහන්නෝතු සම්බ දුක්ඛා පමුච්චතු. Bless you.